I remember that moment very clearly, not as a thought, but as a sensation in my body. Morning, half asleep, the world hadn't fully entered me yet, and before I even got out of bed, before I fully realized who I was or where I was, my hand automatically reached for my phone. Not to check the time, not to reply to someone important, not out of anxiety. I just wanted to check, were there any new likes? The screen lit up, a notification, a small red dot, and somewhere deep inside, barely noticeable yet familiar, a subtle impulse, as if my body exhaled, as if something clicked into place. Relief, pleasure, validation, as if someone quietly but convincingly whispered, "You exist, you matter, you are seen." Only later did I realize this wasn't just a like, it was a precisely calibrated hit to my brain. The magic of the digital signal. We all know it, that sound, that vibration, that split second when your heart beats just a little faster, even if you don't consciously notice it. A new comment, a new like, a new follower. Sometimes it's just a number, and sometimes it feels like someone reached out and touched you. Why does it matter so much? Why does it sometimes feel like one click from a stranger carries more weight than warm words from someone close? The answer isn't superficiality, and it isn't weakness. It lies in how our brain is wired. Long before smartphones and Wi-Fi, survival depended on acceptance. If the tribe accepted you, you were safe. If it rejected you, you were in danger. Being seen meant living. Being excluded meant disappearing. Our brain learned this deeply. Social approval equals survival, and it still runs on that code. The world changed faster than our neurobiology did. Social media didn't create this need, it simply learned how to press that button perfectly. Dopamine is not about happiness, it's about anticipation of reward. I remember that moment very clearly, not as a thought, but as a sensation in my body. Morning, half asleep, the world hadn't fully entered me yet, and before I even got out of bed, before I fully realized who I was or where I was, my hand automatically reached for my phone. Not to check the time, not to reply to someone important, not out of anxiety. I just wanted to check, were there any new likes? The screen lit up, a notification, a small red dot, and somewhere deep inside, barely noticeable yet familiar, a subtle impulse, as if my body exhaled, as if something clicked into place. Relief, pleasure, validation, as if someone quietly but convincingly whispered, "You exist, you matter, you are seen." Only later did I realize this wasn't just a like, it was a precisely calibrated hit to my brain. The magic of the digital signal. We all know it, that sound, that vibration, that split second when your heart beats just a little faster, even if you don't consciously notice it. A new comment, a new like, a new follower. Sometimes it's just a number, and sometimes it feels like someone reached out and touched you. Why does it matter so much? Why does it sometimes feel like one click from a stranger carries more weight than warm words from someone close? The answer isn't superficiality, and it isn't weakness. It lies in how our brain is wired. Long before smartphones and Wi-Fi, survival depended on acceptance. If the tribe accepted you, you were safe. If it rejected you, you were in danger. Being seen meant living. Being excluded meant disappearing. Our brain learned this deeply. Social approval equals survival, and it still runs on that code. The world changed faster than our neurobiology did. Social media didn't create this need, it simply learned how to press that button perfectly. Dopamine is not about happiness, it's about anticipation of reward. We often hear, dopamine is the happiness hormone. It sounds nice, but the truth is more complex and a bit unsettling. Dopamine isn't joy, it's anticipation of reward. It doesn't surge when you receive a like, it surges when you expect that you might receive one. That's why we check our phones again and again. That's why one like is never enough. Social media operates on what psychologists call variable reinforcement. You never know how many likes you'll get, whether there will be a comment, or whether it will perform this time. That unpredictability makes the system incredibly powerful. Like a slot machine, sometimes nothing, sometimes a sudden win, and the brain keeps thinking, what if next time? When numbers become feelings. The problem isn't likes, and it isn't platforms. The problem is that the brain can't distinguish the source of the signal. For it, 100 likes and a warm, attentive look in real life activate the same neural pathways. Slowly, we begin to confuse visibility with intimacy, reach with acceptance, metrics with worth. I caught myself in a strange emotional state. If a post didn't do well, my mood dropped, even if the day was good, even if people were around, even if real life was perfectly fine. As if part of me lived there, inside the numbers, waiting for a verdict. The shadow side of constant validation. Over time, another trap appears, dopamine tolerance. What once felt good stops working. The brain adapts. Before, 10 likes were enough, then 100, then thousands, and the feeling gets shorter, weaker. In its place appear anxiety, constant comparison, the sense that everyone else is living brighter, better, more successful. We start scrolling not out of curiosity, but out of inner restlessness, and the more we scroll, the emptier we feel. Sleep becomes shallow, focus scattered, silence unbearable, because the brain has grown used to continuous stimulation. The moment of awareness. My turning point was simple and quiet. I was sitting next to someone who mattered to me. We were silent, not because there was nothing to say, but because it felt good to be quiet together. And in that moment, I was checking my phone. And suddenly I realized I was trading real presence for potential validation. Not because I didn't care, but because my brain had been trained to search for the signal. It was scary to see, and at the same time deeply freeing. Taking back control. I didn't delete social media. I didn't run away to the forest. I didn't become a digital ascetic. I simply started asking questions. Why am I opening this app right now? What am I actually looking for? Connection or validation? I began to turn off notifications, avoid grabbing my phone immediately after waking up, return attention to my body, my breath, the conversation. At first, it felt uncomfortable, like something had been taken away, and then something else appeared. Silence, presence, reality. Likes are not the enemy. Social media is a tool, not good, not evil. The problem begins when it becomes a source of self-worth. You are not your likes. You are not your reach. You are not an algorithm. You are a living human being with a body, with pauses, with silence. Real connection isn't measured in numbers.
It can't be refreshed with a swipe. It can only be felt. Final. Next time your phone vibrates, pause for 1 second. Notice what's happening in your body, in your chest, in your stomach, in your breath, and ask yourself a simple question. Am I seeking connection or validation? And remember, your worth exists even in silence, even without a signal, even without likes. Because real acceptance doesn't begin on a screen, it begins within.